What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Danielle here. You know me. And if you don't, welcome. Welcome to Call to Action's weekly segment, Chill to Action. As usual, I have my wonderful co-host with me, Mr. Paul Denuzio.
That's me. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming and chilling with us tonight with our very special guest. I'm so happy to have him on. I hope everybody's doing okay, and let's move this on.
And we have our third co-host for the night, Mr. Richard Jarvi.
2 weeks in a row. I'm back. What is this sorcery? I'm back. I can't wait. And look at this. I got this evil villain thing going on here. Got my dog. What's up? Let's have some fun.
Yeah, and y'all, we have the one, the only, your favorite Schmoedown heel, Mr. Andrew Ghai.
Me? No, guys, stop that. How's it going? Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to be here. You know that I'm huge fans of you guys. I'll be honest, I'm new to the show. I know the show is new, but I'm still new to it. So I'm really excited to be on it. I know Ben had a really, really good time, and I love the three of you. So I think this is gonna be a lot of fun.
We're super excited. Look at that handsome boy. Yay. Speaking of moms, really quickly before we get into it, I called my mom because I forgot to tell her that you were going to be on. Y'all, if y'all don't know this history, my mom is in love with Andrew Ghai. I called my mom on speaker with Paul. Paul heard it. My mom was just gushing. So she's super excited. She's probably watching right now. So hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. I was gonna say I love your mom, but if you're watching, I love you. We need to hang out more. It just sounds like it's gonna be a good time.
My girlfriend Britta, she's obsessed with your teeth. She's like, oh, holy crap, this guy's got such white teeth. I can't handle it. Just a random thing I had to show up.
I got lucky. No braces. Never did anything like that. It's those good old Korean Indian genes, I guess.
There you go. Nice.
Thing.
Alrighty, Andrew. So first question as usual. Why Schmoedown? What got you into it?
Ben did. Ben Bateman. He got me into it. He had become a fan before I did, and he thought that it would be a good idea for us as a show. We've been doing our show Action Movie Anatomy for a little while now, or a little while then, like a couple years. And it was just a way for us to start working with Collider more, and we thought we knew a lot about movies. We thought we could put on some theatrics, and so he kind of talked me into it. Honestly, I was like, whatever, sure, sounds weird, but I guess I used to like wrestling when I was a kid, and I like movies, so I feel like I don't know if I can hang with these guys. He showed me a couple matches, and I think the first match I ever saw was a Bibbs match where he went perfect, and I was like, I can't do this. Like, this isn't mine. I got like 5 or 6 questions right, so that was how it started.
Nice.
Dan Merle's mom was not a fan, I guess, right? Is that true?
She just told me that I needed to be nice to her son, and she was a very sweet lady, and I told her I was sorry, but it's weird, being a heel, because Ben initially was the one that talked to Christian, and he like asked him a couple questions, and Ben blew him like the Bespin question. He asked Ben, and Ben had no idea. I can't remember what he said. And Christian was like, "Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about it down the road." And then a couple months later, he gave us a shot, and he wanted us. I feel like Ben and I remember it differently. I always say that he told us he wanted us to be like the biggest douchebags ever. I think that maybe that's what Ben says, but that's what I remember him saying. And that he wanted like bad guys, and he attributed us to, he talked about some of the greats in wrestling, but we weren't sure if we were going to go that crazy yet initially. So we started off a little slow. You see, we start to kind of evolve. The douchiness evolves, if you will.
Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to bring up as well, because it's truly scary how comfortable you seem to be in your dastardly character. Every time you get screen time or like a cutscene or doing a promo, it gets better and better. And tell the people how much of you is actually in dastardly, and if not any, what was the process of coming up with like this like this sort of an amazing character?
I think you try to take some of the worst parts of yourself, and then some of the parts of yourself that you can't. Yeah, I mean, I guess those are just the worst parts of yourself, because there's some things. I mean, obviously, there's parts of people that we can all suppress, or parts of us that we have a handle on, but there's also parts of us that we don't have. Like, I don't have like a violent, like angry, violent side to me. But if you're going to play a character, you think, well, that could be kind of fun, right? Like, what if, so, I mean, Drew isn't really like an angry, violent person. I guess he's tackled a couple people. So, okay, I guess that doesn't really work. That's all story.
Is it though?
But is it? I don't know anymore.
I don't know who I am.
So I think you take some of the cool things that you've seen in movies, and I think you also take some of the parts of you that like I said, some of the worst parts of you, and you just kind of put them to the top, because you're like, well, this guy's horrible, right? He just has to be a bad guy. So he has to say all the things and do all the things that a normal person with a good conscience would never do, and that's kind of like, that's the dastard, and it's fun. It's fun to be him. It really is, because I don't ever get to be like that. I'm not like that. I got stopped by someone, recognized me from doing Schmoedown and Collider stuff the other day when I was at a food truck. I tracked down this food truck. I talked about it on one of our live streams, and he tracked me down, or he tracked me down. I tracked down the food truck, and this guy had this XXX habanero Diablo salsa on his table that was like a communal one for the whole food truck. Snickers, come on.
There he is.
He's playing with he's yeah, I know. He's so sad. I'm taking all of his toys away one by one. They all make sounds though, so I mean, he's just like, anyway. So I went to the table to grab this hot sauce, and this guy was like, "Hey, I know you're like the bad guy on like the Schmoedown, and you do all the Collider stuff." He's like, "But you're so nice." Like, I remember the end of the conversation, he said it, like, "You're so nice though." And he's like, "It was really nice to meet you." And I was like, it's so weird that people think that that's maybe just who I am. That's kind of what people originally thought when we joined the league. I mean, for a long time, that's what people thought, competitors and fans. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just rambling about being a heel, but that's kind of how it happened. You just, oh my gosh. You got it.
The people who tuned into AMA, like after seeing your Schmoedown stuff, were like, "Holy shit, these guys are actually, they're really nice. What's going on here? Is it all an act?" It's like they're so surprised, which is like such a statement for you guys, because you're doing such good jobs with your characters.
Yeah, we're always really excited when people see us do other things. We feel like it kind of redeems us a little bit.
A little bit. I do a follow-up for the heel question, but there's a couple of chat things I wanted to bring up. First of all, it didn't take very long, but my Schmoedown event wife wants to see the knee pup stickers. We told you it was going to happen as soon as
oh, there she is, Rachel Silvestrini. Snickers, he's down here. I mean, maybe do we want a Snickers cameo, or is that something?
I think we definitely want.
We need one.
He fits on my lap, just like Jarvi's pup.
Mine's like, she's like totally falling asleep here.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Oh, there's Snickers.
Oh, look at that.
Look at this guy. Wow. Look at this guy.
Look at these pups. My dude is in the living room, so I can't put him on screen right now. I'm sorry.
Oh, where's your cat?
I know.
Look at his ears.
Like right at
his ears. He sees the dog.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, his ears are perked up. He sees him. Anyway, I love this dog. This thing is my life.
Oh,
Archie, you're just the sweetest guy.
I love those ears. There's it's like a Labrador and a pit bull. Is that right?
Yeah, he's a Labrador pit bull. I don't know what to call him, but that's what he is.
Adorable.
He's adorable. All right, that's enough.
All I know is that Kardashian's ratings or our views just at least tripled, I think, in the past.
I know, he always takes all my attention away. I'm sick of it. I don't want a camera ever again. Don't ask me for that crap.
Also, Brandon said you should not be taking his toys away. He was very upset. So
I know it's just gonna be. You guys just got to hear all the squeaking or the bone marrow clawing, and that's just not. We don't need that. So
But anyway,
what was your follow-up? I apologize.
No, trust me, a Snickers interruption is never a bad thing.
You hear that, Snickers?
You said you had a hard time with, or had time like being the douche or trying to become the douche, but you did such a great job at it. You obviously became the greatest heel of all time. That's not me blowing smoke.
That's fact. That's fact.
That is absolute fact as far as Schmoedown concerned. To me, there's no better. I mean, but how do you feel about that aspect of it, considering how many other heels there have been? You've had the John Rokas as a heel at one point. We have some people are trying to push Mike Kalinowski as a heel. I think he's more of a tweener myself. So what do you think about that aspect of it? Like, how have you done?
I think that, it's awesome. It really is. I think being called the greatest heel of all time is amazing. And I think it's tough because I don't want to sound. Other people have done so much more for the league than I have, obviously, in terms of what they've accomplished and the paves the ways that they the paths that they have paved for others. But if you talk about heels and heel work, I do feel like when Team Action came into the league, it kind of opened the doors to what the next generation of heel could be. And I think John was a character before, and he was like the heeliest of the old age. And I think he's a good heel. I just think it's different. I think it's a little bit different because now I just don't ever feel like John's like a true heel. I don't know why. I don't. It just feels like it's just John, like feels like it's just Roka. But his promos are great, and like I think that he was kind of the original guy that gave Christian the idea that when we came into the league we could do something different. And I think what we did was basically completely drop who we are as people and just play these characters, just these straight characters, these straight up bad guys. And I think that's kind of why Mike has been able to do what he's done now. And people call him a tweener, but people also call him the greatest heel of all time, or the greatest heel of the year, or some of the greatest heel work they've ever seen. And I mean, when you guys think of the greatest heels, it's like he's always in the conversation, even if he is a true tweener. And I think that, not on top of Team Action beating DC, it turned him heel. It's also, I think, kind of what we did in the Facebook groups, what we did with the videos. We were the first ones that ever kind of did that, really kind of, I guess, in a fun way, shit talking with the fans, and also posting those videos, those long videos that we used to, talk trash to other teams that we were going to play. I feel like that was something that we didn't really see in the old Schmoedown Facebook group a couple years ago, before there was Team Action. And we did those for every single one of our matches, and it was something that kind of got us hyped. So I think that's kind of, it was the work that we put in over the years. It feels like that maybe got me to that title. And some of the moments in matches are just amazing.
I think your best promo was cut it out. No, don't leave it in, or something. This is truly. Was that improvised?
Yeah.
Perfect. It was perfect. Felt so natural.
Those are the hardest thing to do, honestly, because if you think about it from a production standpoint, the first thing you do when you get there, most of the people will get there either right before their match or the match prior to their match, unless obviously your match is the first one of the day, which does happen. You have to get there early in the day. The first thing you do is go and cut a promo. Now, this is where being a face is nice and easy. You can just kind of hang back, be yourself, say what you want to say, excited to play, excited to show off, things like that. Snickers, stop. And for a heel, it's like, or if you want to cut a good promo as a heel, you got to kick it up to 11. First thing in the morning, turn on douchebag right when you walk in the door. You got your coffee in your hand. You're still waking up. You're like, all right, here we go. So, that promo kills me, man. I don't even know why. I don't even know why I thought to do either of those things, but I just had to. I almost didn't say it. I was like, should I say it? Should I not do it? Or should I bark at him? Should I not bark at him? It all ended up well.
So doing that kind of, did that feel like being a manager whenever you were out there with Brandon? And do you think managing is something that you could do?
I think managing something I could do. I honestly think I would maybe be better suited at the desk. But I would like to manage as well. I think that I would have a good time managing now that I feel that I respect managers. I used to not really respect managers in the game, but now I feel the game has evolved to that point to where I do respect them. I think they play a pivotal part in singles and in team success.
Yeah, I think this year was really the year where managers kind of stepped up their game, and a lot of people started paying more attention to managers in that sort of aspect. Maybe now because we have a little bit more, and the managers are being more involved with it. So that's been a really fun thing to watch. How are you enjoying your manager?
It's interesting because I love Robert. I think he's hilarious. I love his character. I love everything that he says. But as for him as a manager, it's weird because he's doing his thing and we're doing our thing. That's really what it feels like. And he's there for our matches to support us. But yeah, that's also the days that he has to, or not has to, but he's called in to shoot his scenes because it works that we're all there together. Obviously, he's shot a lot of scenes without me, so he comes in on his own time when we're not competing, and I definitely respect that. But as for what he does during the match when we're actually competing, it's not the same level of involvement as you get with like Gucci. Gucci, honestly, he's the one that I'd put what he's done to the league in more like or on the same level as what I've done with heels for what he's going to do with managers. And what he's done with managers is, the character thing is huge. He's always had a great character and characters, whichever one you want to talk about. But also the role that he plays in the game and what he does in calling challenges and making sure questions are asked correctly and making sure boards are written correctly and all that. It's huge.
Brad and Hannah popping in and saying he's quickly learned how difficult it is to be a heel as you are the absolute GOAT.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that you rubbed off on him because I think he's done a pretty good job recently too. So
yeah, Brandon does a really, really good job in the scenes that he shoots, and it's fun. If you know Brandon, it's hilarious because he's truly like one of the nicest guys you will ever meet in your whole life. And yeah, being a heel it's tough. You get a lot of hate. You get a lot of hate online. People love to watch you lose. People love to watch you lose in person. People love to watch you lose online. They think that they can say worse things to you because you're a heel. And I get that. I understand that. You bring it upon yourself because you say worse things than other competitors do to competitors. So it puts you in the line of fire. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt,
Now you mentioned being on the desk. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I think it is. It's not really something Christian and I have talked extensively about at all. It's just something that I think, I'm an esports commentator for a game that I love, and I love the Schmoedown, and I can hold my own at the desk. So I don't think I'll be like as funny as Ellis or anything like that, but I think I could be analytical to the game and not say answers.
We've actually had. Billy Belfer has a good point here. We saw your ability to break down the game during the Inky and the Brain match. It was great color commentary, even if you were actually in the match at the time.
Oh man, that was also one of my favorite moments because everyone knows that's a conversation that a lot of people have to have at that moment. But if you just say it out loud, if your opponent says it out loud while you're going through it, you just want to murder them. So
I know Rachel's
small daggers.
I just hope we don't lose you. We don't lose you as a competitor. I want to see you keep competing, though.
Yeah. The manager shakeup is going to be really interesting. It really is, and I really enjoy competing with McQueenie, and I'm excited for our run. To start in the team's tournament. I'm excited for the first match to air, and that's about all I have to say about that. I love competing in the Schmoedown. It's something that as you try to make more and more time for things in life, it's definitely something I try to make time for. So hopefully it's something I'll continue to have time for. That's one of the reasons I haven't been able to do the singles tournament 2 years in a row, is because I just haven't had time.
Well, you brought up the nuke. So that's a question I wanted to throw out there. I think a lot of people like to hear about competitors and their projections. Now, I know you have your loyalties, your faction, obviously. You're the family, and that's what it is. But if you could not be with RMB, or you could not be with any of your current faction mates, who's a manager that you would want to work with, and who else out in the league would you possibly want to work with?
Okay, so excuse me, I'm sorry. Who are all the other managers?
I think 9 have been revealed, and I think there's still one more to come out. So all of the regular managers that are managers now, so there's 4, right?
Uh-huh.
And then Winston, Emma Fife is now back, Coy Jandrew, and that's all that I can think of right now.
Roxy, Dagnino, Ken and Grace, Kaiser.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I would go with Gucci. That's what I've always wanted to be managed by Gucci. I think we would be so. I think the scenes together when we're working together would be so fun, and I just love the guy. I love his energy. I love what he brings to the game. So that's definitely the manager. As for a teammate, you know what? There's so many competitors that are so damn good now. It's like, well, who wouldn't I be a teammate with at this point? If you talk because of character, that's another thing. But I don't need character. I don't care if they have character or not. That's not a part of being one of my teammates. They can be a silent killer. I don't mind. I can carry my own on the mic, and if the manager wants to carry or do their thing on the mic, then they can do that. I don't care about that either. So some of my favorites that I would like to team up with, I mean, I would love to be with Queenie. Obviously, if I can't be with him, then I would go with Erwin. I'm a huge fan of Erwin. I've always been a fan of Erwin. I think we would balance ourselves out pretty well. I think that myself and Andraco actually balance ourselves out pretty well, because I sit next to him during matches a lot, and the random stuff that he doesn't know, and there's very little that guy does not know. It is absolutely mind-boggling. Especially not being under the lights. It's crazy, because you can tell sitting next to people during matches a lot that the lights get to everybody, because a lot of those top tier competitors are just perfect rounds, just all the time. It's and when you see them score like 6 points in a round, that's something like the lights, because it's very rare that happens. So someone like Andraco I would love. I think Clark Wolf and I would balance out pretty well, but I know she's retired. I would love to be with Rachel, but I know she's retired. I have like this weird old man syndrome in the league. I don't really want to be with anyone new. I like, don't get me wrong, I like a lot of the competitors, but I want seasoned people, seasoned vets only. And I would never play with anyone on the Horsemen, except for if Team Action was ever to reform. That's the only way I would ever play with someone from Team Action.
Well, there is the greatest Horseman of all time in Brandon Hanna as well.
Yeah, well, that is very true, and I salute him for his service. Janine, oh yeah, Janine, I would love to be on a team with Janine. I do wonder if
you got the same strengths, I think.
I was gonna say, I do wonder if we would balance each other out too, like too much of an even level. And we would need to be, or I guess we wouldn't balance each other out, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I love Janine. Janine's I think the Time Machine is one of my favorite teams ever. That is such a badass team. That is crazy. And I think the two of them really, really know a lot of very different things.
They're gonna be dangerous, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Snyder would be a good fit because you're both heels.
Yeah, Snyder. Just wonder if Snyder and I would just get annoyed with each other.
You're fighting for that mic, I think.
Yeah, right. No, I think Jeff and I would be really good. That guy knows a lot, man. It is crazy. It really is. I do think I would be good with someone like John or someone like Dan, but I don't think it should ever happen. I don't think it ever works in the storyline, and I don't think it would really. The only way it would need to happen is if something like corruption, the anarchy thing happened, and we got paired up like that. But otherwise, no. But God, Rachel and I, we were so close. We were so close.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to have Rachel Cushing on the show a few weeks ago, and we got to talk about you and her being a potential team. And I still believe that Andrew Ghai and Rachel Cushing is the greatest team that never was.
I know. It really would have been. It would have been. I would die to see how she would react to everything that I would say throughout a match. That's it. Because I used to love the way that Riley would react to Ben when he first was his teammate. He'd be like, I'm sorry for him. And like, I think Rachel would genuinely, as a human being, be like, oh my God, let's don't do that. And then of course she's the GOAT. Like I think Rachel might be the greatest pound for pound player that's ever played the game.
I believe it.
Beyond anyone else. Just because of what she's done in IG and teams and she never won a singles belt, but I don't feel like that matters. I think anyone that knows and played at the time was like, well, I feel like she just could have. I feel like she just could have at any time, But yeah, that's the one. That's the one that got away.
Someday, maybe she'll make a comeback someday. But
who knows?
Who knows? But it's funny thing about we were talking about Merle. Ladies' night on Kardashian their night got to react to the most famous, probably the best match in the history of the Schmoedown as far as I'm concerned, Ghai versus Merle. And I had a big question about that because some of my favorite moments in that is watching Christian's face throughout the whole match as it gets further and further. He starts getting more and more like uncomfortable.
Storylines are fucked.
Face like that.
Yeah.
And I have to ask.
Oh my goodness.
When he came backstage after the match was recorded, what was the first thing he said to you? That's what I want to know.
Oh God, I wish I could remember what he said. I think he said, you crazy motherfucker, you did it. I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
Why are you so damn quiet? That's my favorite.
You to my balls.
He could not believe it. And then he said, "You ruined my storyline." That's all he said. He's like, "You ruined my whole storyline. You ruined my whole event." Because I think the plan was to have Dan and Sam play each other at a live event, and then after that, it just didn't work out because it was like you can't come off a loss and headline a live event. It just doesn't work in the storyline.
Yeah.
I think that was what was going to happen. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm pretty sure. And so, yeah, Christian I don't think he'd even written another storyline.
No, I think I remember hearing something.
So that was the rule, yeah.
Yeah. You can clearly see it in his face at the end of the match that he just had no idea what was going to go from there.
No one did. It was literally silent in that room. No one could believe what was happening. And
probably the same thing with Riley, right?
Yeah, I think people really couldn't believe it was happening again. I mean, and that wasn't a really strong match on either of our parts, but it still was one of those things where people just couldn't believe. They were just like, what the hell? Like, what is it? How is this gonna? Why? Like, why is this happening? Him, really? Of everyone? And man, it was a sweet little run.
One of my favorite things is you said you texted Ben right after those victories. It's like I TKO'd Riley or something, or was it he just lost it?
He just couldn't believe it. He actually couldn't believe the Riley thing had happened. The Merle one, he had like this weird. He still couldn't believe that I beat Merle, and still to this day, he'll tell me, he's like, I still just can't believe you beat him. I know.
That's true. That it was the reason Christian needs to have story options now. He actually has said that. Christian has come out and said that was the first time he said, all right, I need 2 storylines now each time, no matter what.
I mean, if you talk about someone having their day, that was someone having their day. Everything lined up. The questions lined up. the character, the way that it affected Dan, just the instinct that I had to say the things that I did and do the things that I did. You know, like they kind of cut out the feet up on the table, but you can still see him in his frame at one point. You can see my feet on the table, but you know, in round 3, I just pour it on. I mean, round 2 also with the steals, like it's I think if you want to see some of the greatest, I think if you want to see the great, like talk about great heel work, I think if you just watch that match from beginning, from beginning to end, then you're like, okay, that's what it can be like to be a heel. Because I don't think I'm very insulting to Dan. Maybe in the promo, maybe just in the pregame and the postgame, maybe in the.
Well, you jumped on the table and gave the birds.
Well, that's to everyone. That was to everyone. That was to the world, because no one believed that I could beat him. No one. Literally, only. I'm telling you, only Jessica. I think she was the only one that randomly was like that had kind of faith in me that day. But everyone else, I walked out to, and they would like laugh in my face, like actually laugh in my face. They'd be like, no.
and you knew Dan's 5-pointer. You went child 44.
Yeah, I knew it.
You just said it. Just like, holy shit! It's not a fluke. You actually knew his questions that he didn't know.
The whole day. It was child 44, which is so funny because I've never even seen it. It's just
same here.
It's because I know that I haven't seen it because I'm that big of a fan of Hardy that I hear Tom Hardy movie and he starts describing the plot and I'm like, I haven't seen this. Like, well, if I haven't seen it, I'm like, oh, it's. And then I heard something. I think they might say something about kids. I don't know if they say something about kids or not. Maybe it's just the Russian agent. But yeah, I don't know. I just knew it was child 44, and God, that felt so good to know his answer also. That whole thing, man. And then in the Riley thing, I recorded a video of him losing in like first person, like with my cam. Like,
that's right.
With the face cam. I don't know what happened to that video, but
I might have that one actually.
It was also a good one. That was a good moment. I can't. Is it in the Dan match that I say the thing about having a phone out? And then I'm saying I'm going to lose anyways, so why does it matter? Is it that match? Or did they cut that out? There's a match out there where I say that cracked me up. Anyway.
Excellent.
So
anyway,
go ahead, Paul.
All right. The question I was going to ask, it's now we asked this of Ben, so I'm going to get your perspective. Action industries.
Mm-hmm.
We of course know all about action industries. I don't know if everybody else knows all about action industries. How did you worked with Ben for Action Movie Anatomy for a long time, 200 plus episodes, and then you discovered that you wanted to build the brand out. What was the thought process behind that, and where do you see it going?
That's a good question.
Thanks.
So Action Industries is it's one of those moments where you hear people say it all the time in movies, and it's like, I want to be the one that's writing the checks, not cashing them, and that's not really the idea that we had. But to put it in the most like simple terms, that was the idea that we had. You want to own the content that you create, and you want to be able to continue to create content for the audience that you want to create content for on your own time, or you're getting enough out of it monetarily that you can just make this your full-time job, so you can bring better content to the people that are supporting you and bring better content to people that don't know who you are. So as much as we love working for the companies that we've worked for years and all the carpets we've been on and all the opportunities we've had on shows, it was like, all right, well, what next? And that's one of the things that I think really is why our friendship works so well, is we're always challenging each other for the next thing. It's like, okay, well, if this feels like we've peaked out, which is kind of what it felt like we'd done on AMA in so many ways, it didn't feel like we could do much more with the show in the amount of time that we had. You're only allotted 1 hour once a week for the show. We couldn't do the show more often. We couldn't really make the show longer. And even if we did, that didn't really feel like the place to do it. That didn't feel like the place to add more content in. It wasn't just to make this already long movie discussion show longer and less digestible. It was to bring more digestible content. So we just decided to try it out, and we figured we'd just start with the things that we knew, YouTube, social media, things like that, and just start creating content. And the Patreon has been kind of the biggest thing, because Team Action was also how Action Industries became. I mean, that's kind of what the evolution was. It was like AMA to Team Action, and Team Action kind of evolved into Action Industries, because also we haven't done everything that we can do in the Schmoedown. Obviously, we can still win belts, but if you talk about like, all right, I need to have a better heel moment, like, no, I don't need to have a better heel moment. I can keep having great heel moments, but if I'm not trying to become a better heel than I was before. I'm trying to, well, that sounds bad, but that's not exactly what I'm trying to say. But I just feel like the ceiling hasn't been met, and there's always more you can do, but the opportunities are also fewer and far between. You only have so many matches in a season, and let's say you lose in the first round of the tournament, there goes your whole rest of the year, and you don't get to continue to work on this thing or continue to build this character. So it was like, well, if AMA's here and Schmoedown's here, like a little, obviously Schmoedown's a way bigger audience and something that's brought so much to us. It's like, all right, well, how can we continue to create content on our own time, or for our own audience, or for the people that want to see more out of us? And Action Industries is where that, that came from. And where we want to take it is, we don't want it to be like Collider, and we don't want it to be like Popcorn Talk, but what we do want is, we want to have our shows on there, and we also want to promote content that we think is adjacent to our brand, that our fans would enjoy. And we also want to give opportunities to new content creators out there, and people that want to build their brand and build their name out there, and get experience, and learn what it's like to at least try to get your foot in the door in this business. Because I can't tell you how to succeed completely. I feel like I'm doing okay, but at least I can tell you how to start. And like, I think that if Action Industries can be a place where people that are getting started, or people that are already, because there's a lot of people out there that create really great content that are getting paid almost nothing for it, and they're still looking for a way to get seen, right? And what if we find something like that, or they find us, and it's like, well, hell yeah, this should be on Action Industries. Why wouldn't it be? This is, one of the best death scene discussion shows I've ever heard of in my life. Like, that's perfect for Action. If you want it, and then we build, and that's kind of what we want to do. And we're not sure exactly where we want to go, but I feel like with the way that this first almost year has gone, or I guess it's been over. Paul, how long has it been? It's been like a year and a half now.
Yeah,
right.
And we started in January as like getting it fully going, but
so it's like it's almost been a full year then.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way that the first year has gone, and I think about what we were doing a year ago, it feels crazy. And you guys all know firsthand. I mean, obviously, Paul and Jarvi, much more intimately, but Danny, you've been right there. You've been watching us for a long, long time and seeing what we've been doing, and we think about, wow, holy shit, if that's what we did in 1 year, and we're still kind of figuring out what we want to do, and then obviously the more focus that Ben and I get, the more focus we can make this brand. And then if that's what we did in the first year, then I'm really excited to see what we just continue to do, because it feels like we were worried that momentum might be slowing with the team that we have. Because this is the other thing is, I should spend the whole rest of this hour just talking about the team, because that's the only reason it works. And I hate to, we don't ever use the term work for us. It's always work with us, because they truly are working and learning with us, in the sense of, we're learning a lot of the time. We're learning stuff from people all the time. We're always asking the team like, oh, okay, so how do we do this? Or even just like, what's the password again? Like, how the hell do we even tie our shoes without this team? And, we just did our check-in, like our 6-month check-in, and it was just the coolest thing to hear that everyone on board with AI was just ready and excited for the next thing. And I think that's super promising, because I don't know if we weren't doing a good job, if that many people would still be that excited after that long. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, well, I think that you're doing a great job. And I know that one other person in my life thinks that you're doing a wonderful job. While I still have you in this section of it, I would get in a lot of trouble if I didn't get to ask you a question that my mom wanted to ask.
Please,
So,
yes. Sure.
so my mom is wondering about your acting career. She wants to know where she can see more of your stuff and when we can see more of your stuff.
You know, that is a very good question. It's really kind of crazy. So I have a handful of projects that I've never seen, and I don't know where the footage is. I don't know how to get it. I don't know where it is out there. Yeah, well, Bloody Eyes is not finished yet. That's the one. So Bloody Eyes is a movie that I starred in 2 years ago now, and they're still finishing as of late. I just recently heard sound production. They're finally finishing the end of the sound editing, and I understand because the director had a baby right after we wrapped shooting. So the first year he basically didn't finish the film, you know, and that's what happens. And I grew up around a lot of kids, and I understand that if you are a person that's producing and directing a film, because he's a pretty well-known director from Brazil. He's like an award-winning director from Brazil, and he's an incredible guy. He's one of my favorite people I've ever worked with. And yeah, so he kind of fell off for a whole year. So that is supposed to be out relatively soon. And I feel like I've been saying that forever, but that's what I hear. As for other stuff, it's like I'm always doing commercial work, and I've got a short film that's coming out soon. It's kind of like an action thriller, or more of like a drama thriller, about a group of people that kind of go down to Tijuana and things go awry. So that's actually finishing editing right now as well. It's crazy. The last year, though, has been so much esports. It's been so dedicated to esports that I actually haven't had the time to even audition a lot of the year. Like I was on, we talk about being booked out for in booking terms with your agency, and I think I was booked out for 6 months out of the year. And obviously your agency isn't happy to hear that you're just not available for 6 months out of the year, because if you're not making money for them, then they're not making money off of you, obviously. But luckily at the beginning of the year, I booked a couple commercials with them, which was nice. I always like to feel not nice in the sense of like, okay, good, they got paid, but I really love my agency and I love working with them. They're really great people. And I like to feel like I'm doing well for them. And, they don't represent me as a host, so they don't get any of that, you know, all that esports money. So that's another thing, is like they're not getting paid while I'm just not available. But yeah, I'd say I'm back to auditioning again, which is really nice. You know, I've been, since CRL wrapped, I've already gone on a handful of auditions, so that's where I am with it.
Yay!
That's awesome. So we've talked about hosting, we've talked about acting, we've talked about esports stuff. I just got a hypothetical question for you. If you weren't working in the entertainment industry at all, what do you think you would be doing, or what would you like to do?
Honestly, I would probably own a restaurant. I really think
nice.
I would.
Nice.
Yeah,
like Rocky.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly like Rocky. Just because it's so funny, because my cousin's name is Rocky and he owns a restaurant.
Yeah.
And when you said that, I was like, how do you know?
Sure, he knows
and
well.
I was like, okay, all right. The other Rocky, the Rocky that everyone knows. Right. Yeah, I worked in food service for a really long time. And if we go back to talking about working for someone or working for yourself, I would really enjoy running the front of house of a restaurant with a very, very like talented and badass chef to run the back of the, run the kitchen.
I think working in the hospitality industry, it gives you a pretty strong base as to what to do for it. It gives you a lot of humility, and like it just makes you know how to deal with the worst kind of situations, but also the best. Now that you say you could start your own restaurant, it makes perfect sense, because I worked in that area as well. I think Danny, you worked in that area as well. Not sure about you, Paul, but yeah. What would the restaurant be called?
Oh God, now that I don't know, because I don't know what kind of food I would want to do. Honestly, knowing me, I would man, I don't know. I don't even know what type of food I'd want to do. I would probably either take something over, like in the sense of like in the business mindset more so because I do love, but I love food. I love eating good food, but I don't really have an obsession with a certain type of cuisine. So if I were to take over a restaurant that was doing okay, I don't feel like I could kick that up or make it do better, improve it.
Drew stews. No, I know what you should do. Protein pancakes.
Protein pan. That's true. I do love making protein pancakes. I really love to cook. I actually really love to cook, but I would not want anything to do with the kitchen. And the kitchen life in restaurants is, I'm not man enough for that. I'm really not. You know,
guys gumbo.
Guys gumbo. Guy
tie. Nice.
I do.
Guys pie. Yeah, everybody's coming in these things.
These are great. So you guys could all be my marketing team.
Advertise with mukbang, right?
Yes. This presents a new restaurant.
That is genius, Paul. This is how I can get my mukbang career started.
No.
I want it so bad. I want a mukbang career. I specifically will not start one because I know, like, within 2 months I'll just weigh like 300 pounds, and you guys will be like, "So, how's the mukbang thing going? You're gonna stick with it, huh?" And I'll just be like, "Oh yeah, definitely." And I'll just be eating like while every show all the time because I love the idea of what they do. They're like, "Let me just get the most decadent thing that I can think of and eat that on camera and then make a bunch of money off of it." And I'm like, oh my God, I can just eat the most amazing things that I want and get paid for it. That's it. Like that's the dream. That's I'm in.
That's the dream.
Eating, you know. Anyway, so that's my obsession with mukbang.
Well, we've come to the point where we are now going to play our little game we call This or That.
Okay.
I love this part.
The chat knows this. Basically the rules is I just give Drew 2 choices. He'll choose one of them. It's really the context will mostly be up to him unless I specify. And you can expand if you want, or you can just leave it as it is. Okay. Now, the first question we always ask is kind of a weird one for you.
Yeah.
We did ask this of Ben last week as well. Yes. Some people know it because Adam
knows it.
Are you team Ghai or team Trader?
I mean, I'm pretty sure we know the answer to that. I hope that he dies in the Schmoedown. I want to ruin him. I want to ruin him and everything that he stands for, so much so that everyone forgets who he even was. People be like, remember that guy that, like, who's that guy that guy used to team up with? McQueenie. Be like, no, the one before that. Be like, no, there never was anyone before that. It was just McQueenie. They're like, no, the one before that. Like, no, he wasn't in Anarchy. And then they'll be like, I don't know. And then that'll be it. That's exactly what people remember about him. That's what I want to do.
That's awesome.
I will expand that Ben last week answered that there is no team trader. So logically speaking, if there is no team
sounds like something a trader would say.
If there is no team trader, that must mean that he's team Ghai, right?
I mean, if he didn't pick one answer and there's only 2, then he picked the other answer. So I mean, logically, so probably the smartest thing that dumbass traders ever said.
Perfect. Okay.
Y'all go watch this episode after this.
Yeah, yes, go check it out.
Here we go.
He has had a great time. This has been a great time. So,
Jerry B or Nick Cage?
Oh no. So are you? Give me a little more context here. Are we talking like Thanos snap, like one of them never existed? Or one of them dies, like
go with your instincts.
Because here's the thing: is like if we're talking about what someone's going to do with the rest of their career, I'm probably going Jerry B. Even though I still think I still have to go Nick Cage. I have to go Nick Cage all the way across the board.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: what Nick Cage did before is something that you can't get rid of, and it's always been better than what Jerry B's done. Like I love Jerry B. As of right now, I enjoy Jerry B much more than Nick Cage, but Cage still has that chance to do that one role, that one amazing role where he comes back and like wins an Oscar. I know he can do it. I got faith in you, Nick.
Or maybe True Detective. I could see him doing an awesome True Detective.
Oh, yeah.
I would be into that. I would be super into that.
Didn't he have like a detective movie like New Orleans or something, Protocol or something?
Yeah.
That was actually, I think, one of his last good roles.
Bad Lieutenant.
Bad Lieutenant, that's the one.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the one.
I will throw it out there. I'll throw out there Nick Cage and Ed Harris, True Detective season 4.
Is that a real thing? Is that a real thing?
No, I wish it was.
Oh,
I wish that's my dream casting right there.
Come on, man.
Perfect, right?
I wish ice cream made me lose weight also, but come on. Jesus. I was so excited. Especially because I just finished watching season 1 again, like 2 weeks ago. Okay. I rewatched it. My girlfriend had never seen it, and so we watched Chernobyl after we watched When They See Us, and then we just had to watch Chopped for a month, and then we watched True Detective because after those first 2 shows, we were just ruined for a while. Like, we need a break. And I was like, okay, now let's watch True Detective. So,
how did you like True Detective season 1?
She liked it. She liked it a lot.
Okay.
She really did. She thought it was I don't know if she like loved it, but I know she really liked it. She thought it was really good. Okay. And I think that's fine with me. Even though it's amazing.
It is.
I don't know if she has a lot to compare it to. Like I don't know if she's really watched like a lot of that type of television, you know.
Fair enough. Okay, got a movie, 2 movies, and this one is the Thanos Snap. This movie never existed. You have to pick one. Gladiator.
Okay, this is bad.
I know what's coming. I know what's coming.
Yep.
Or Warrior.
Yeah.
Oh my god. This is the worst question I think I've ever been asked in my life.
Honestly, I wouldn't know how to answer it either because they're both my top 5 movies.
I know. I don't. Oh no.
Drew, if you don't answer this question, you're gonna lose your home.
Yeah, I know. I can hear the person outside the door still. I think. Okay, here's what I'll say. I think you cut Warrior and you live with Gladiator.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
And here's the reason why. I think the impact that Gladiator had as a movie for what it did for everyone in their careers is much more impactful than what Warrior did. Although Warrior did bring Nolte back like single-handedly, it brought him back in the sense of like, yeah, if he was already on the map, getting an Oscar nomination for a movie that people had no faith in and didn't want him in, that's huge. But I mean, Gladiator's my baby. That's my.
The Caesar cut. It brought us the Caesar cut.
Brought us the Caesar cut. That chubby little Asian boy walking around with his Caesar cut, looking like a jackass. Oh, sweet. How sweet it was to be 12 years old.
We need pictures of that.
There are none because I burned them. I burned them all.
It's like Ben's Count to 10 video. We will never see it.
You will never see. You will never
I'm
see. I already showed you guys my fat pictures.
One day I will get that. I will get that someday.
You guys should be able to see it in person. That's the thing that can happen. You can watch it in person.
There we go, LA. We're gonna book it.
But you cannot record it in any sense, or he will kill you.
Or we just get him drunk enough, and he won't even know. That can happen too.
We'll get him to do a new one.
Reenact it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. Okay, this is one that we actually asked Ben a similar question. This is one from Jarvi, actually. Taking out on a dinner date somewhere. I mean, I know you have a girlfriend, but Alicia Vikander.
Oh.
Or a platonic dinner date with TC Legend.
Oh, man. Okay.
That's a good one, Jarvi.
If I were single, I would answer this question much differently. I would definitely.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Jarvi.
No, we asked Ben about Diane Lane or Tom Cruise.
That's what we did.
So yours was Vikander or Tom Cruise.
He still picked Diane Lane.
I'll tell you what he picked after you answer.
I feel like he picked TC. I have to go TC. He
did the same thing.
He did the same thing.
As much as I love Alicia, she is a stunning actress, very talented young woman.
Alex, you're not wrong.
TC is basically he's, as we always say, he's transcended sexuality. He really has. That guy. When's the last time that you guys have seen him kiss someone convincingly? When? Tell me. I want to see
Top Gun.
Top Gun, maybe. The original Top Gun, maybe.
Or Days of Thunder.
I don't know. I always say Far and Away is a joke, but I don't think that's true.
Okay, here's a good one. This is one of our most classic ones we do on all of our shows. You probably wouldn't even understand at first, but it's okay. Answer it either way.
Okay, all right.
Call to action host James Spence or a gaping chest wound.
That reaction alone is worth it.
Oh man, this is a tough pick. Who has the gaping chest wound?
You have the context. You can say. You can choose either way.
Well, I don't need to get political, but I'll pick James Spence. I like James Spence. He's all right. I'll take him over that, I guess.
James got to win.
James, I love you.
Both Action Industries gave James the win. His first 2 wins of the year, I think. I think our favorite answer was Bibiani, who said James Spence with a gaping chest wound.
Wow, that's a twofer, as we call it in the business.
Good night, Rachel. Just gotta say good night.
Bye, Rach.
Salute. Bye, Rachel.
Okay, here's actually one serious one I do have. It's a big one I want to know. The Houston live event, and I'm talking the whole weekend, not just necessarily the Schmoedown thing, but the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Or the New York live event. Because I know you weren't playing in the Schmoedown, but you'd have the whole action live.
Yeah, I had the action thing. I probably still have to go Houston. It was just such a crazy experience of having the ring, playing in the ring with Booker, doing the stunt, getting my lips split open before the match, getting my ass kicked in the match, getting my ass kicked literally after the match. It was just a very unique experience, to say the least. And it was, that's like a once in a lifetime thing. Like, you talk about that, and it's like, I love New York. I had a really great time in New York. I love the Army. The Army is truly become family. Like, it really has. Like, we travel. What I look forward to seeing the Army more than I look forward to seeing the Schmoedown events. I really do. That's just how it works. Like, if I'm competing, I always feel nervous and like kind of anxious about competing. I kind of like to get competing over with, as weird as that is. So like, even if I was competing in an event, I would still be more excited about going to see the Army. But Houston, the Army was there, and we were in a ring with Booker T. It was nuts. The digital wheel was just bullshit. That's all. That's all.
Fair enough. I think they upgraded now, though. They have like a mini wheel now.
I hope so. Gosh, please.
They should start using one of those like finger trap things instead.
I would pick that over that wheel 100% of the time.
Okay, one more this or that question, and I will say the chat should start asking questions now. We'll start getting to the chat questions soon, so ask away. The one last to this or that, and I'll tell you the answer that Ben gave after as well. Same thing.
Okay.
Ben Bateman or Drew McQueenie as a tag team partner?
You're trying to figure out what he said, right?
Totally.
Yeah, I know you are.
I don't know.
No, actually,
say.
I don't mind. It's. I would go with Ben. I really would.
Yes.
Would. I love McQueenie. He's so goddamn good. He's better than both of us, but I would still go with Ben.
Yes.
I will say that Ben picked you without even hesitating.
This is a fist pump moment.
There's hope yet for the reuniting of Team Action.
Oh man, that's what we're all hoping for when the nuke comes around. Like when that whole draft process happens, we're all just silently praying for a Team Action reunion somehow.
I just want to hear the Still Dre bump one day at like a live event after like something happens. That's what I want. I want like if there was ever, because did you in the Royal Rumble? You never knew what order people came out in, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Right.
if it was like something like that, and then Team Action came out, like God, that would be so dope. You just heard Still Dre play it. It was like, oh my God.
Oh,
Come out with the flashing sunglasses and the top hats.
Yeah. That was my favorite one. I don't know which entrance would be more epic. You coming into Dan Murrell's music or all of a sudden everyone hearing Still Dre.
Man, it's so
I
crazy.
think it's got to be the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think it's crazy at this point that song carries that weight in the Schmoedown now. I think that if anyone that watches the show, whether you loved us or you hated us, if you heard that, you would lose your mind.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Ben's return to heel as well. That's something. That's something we need.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you the first question that we got off of a Facebook question. So y'all,
Okay.
if y'all see our post on Facebook, ask your questions there as well. We'll make sure that we get them in here. So the first question is going to come from Joaquin. Love you, Joaquin.
Yeah.
Ask him, Mr. Ghai, how does it feel to be too scared to watch the movie Terrifier?
Look, man, I saw you ask this stupid question earlier, and I have your address because you're a patron. So that's what I want to tell you. How you feel? How do you feel about being scared about that? No, no, I don't know what happened to me. I don't like watching scary movies by myself, and then like when I'm hanging out with Ben and he suggests to watch one because he's the only person that does it. My girlfriend doesn't like watching them. I'm always just like, nah, I'm not really in the mood. Because there's something about watching them now that I feel it's just a lot of it's stressful. My mind goes crazy. I don't know. So how does it feel? It feels fine because I'm scared to watch a lot of movies, even though I know I'm going to watch them. I know I'm going to watch them eventually. That's the other thing. That's why I'm just like, why don't I get them out of the way? And some of them I just do it. Like Us, I just did it. I was like, fine, I'm just going to watch it. It wasn't that scary. They never are. Except for Evil Dead.
Yeah. I always the trailer for the 2013 one. That one scared me enough.
That's it. That's all you need to watch. That's all.
I watched that movie because of you.
I'm going
like a group of people here. We're all drunk. We need a horror movie. I'm like,
no.
I got one that's been recommended to me.
What did they think?
We were so disturbed. We were so disturbed.
I bet that party got real weird real quick.
Yes.
Have y'all ever been to Evil Dead the musical?
No.
There's what?
There's an Evil Dead the musical production. The whole kind of the selling point for it is they spew fake blood to the audience.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Yeah, so you can go and look at my plugging my own Twitter. Sorry, you can go and look at my Twitter. I went to Evil Dead the musical on Halloween, and you can just see my face all bloody with it. That's kind of the point of Evil Dead the musical. It's a lot of fun. Go and check it out if you ever get a chance.
I would like to do this. I would have a good time with this. I should have put my Twitter in my name. That's honestly what I should have done. About plugging your Twitter, plug away. You know.
There's this little one thing that me and Paul have noticed. You keep doing on the Action Guys and on AMA, and I'm just gonna call you out on this. So at first it was like, okay, is it maybe a bit disrespectful towards Ben? But the way you do it, okay, I'm just gonna say what it is. So during the show, you usually follow the chat and you interact with people.
Uh-huh.
But oftentimes when Ben's talking or making his point or doing his thesis, you take your phone out and you're just typing. You're typing, and Ben looks at you. He's talking. You're just typing.
Yeah.
And the first few times it happens, me and Paul are like, Drew is totally zoned out. He's
but that's the thing is I listen.
No, let me finish.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're doing it. And not only are you listening, you counter his point and you even keep the discussion going while doing this. So it's like, I can't be mad at this. This is impressive. Like, where does this come from? How are you able to do it? Like, clear this up for us.
So no, man, I'm a good multitasker, and what I'm doing on my phone, I used to be responding to chat more, but now Ryan does such a good job with keeping up with the chat as a producer that I usually just look up things that we're talking about, looking up dates or looking up movies, making sure I'm getting characters' names right. So, a lot of times I'll be holding my phone and I'll type a few letters and I'll be listening to what Ben's saying. I'll type a few more letters and then I'll get to where I'm trying to be really quick and then I'll listen to what he's saying and then I'll look up what I actually needed to see. But yeah, my whole life, my mom used to ask me how I do this, but I was obsessed with playing computer games, and I had this setup where I would have my computer here, my computer screen here, and the TV would be here. And
World of Warcraft.
Yeah, World of Warcraft and Counter-Strike, baby. You know it.
Yes.
And for years and years and years, I remember my mom would always be like, how are you listening to the movie and playing the game? And it's just a weird thing that I've just always done. So I remember I used to feel guilty about what you're talking about. But then I remembered, I was like, well, as long as you interact with what he's saying, like legit.
Exactly.
They're just being like, yeah. Then people will know that you're actually listening. And I think that's what's actually important. And if I'm still interacting with the chat or helping the show be more correct with the fact or something, then I think it's worth it. But I don't like when I see like playback and it's just like the top of my head. I'm like, all right, well, come on, you know.
No, but that's what's so impressive about it. You actually like, you can talk, you can listen, you can counter his points while you do it. So it's just something I wanted to clear the air with.
I knew people would notice. I knew. There's no way you can't.
Who else is not me and Paul?
She's not listening. Yeah, right. Boys always keeping us in line.
We have to. Somebody's got to. All right. We have some things in the chat. So the first one is Danny Cost actually just wants me to have you watch our famous Mike Kalinowski GIF that Billy Belford created. It's kind of a contractually obligated one we have to put on every show. At this point.
This is my favorite. I'm going to start crying laughing again.
Here we go.
Flesh! Mr. Sam Jones! And like that, he's gone.
I love how he's like,
yeah.
They're like, no. I love it. Favorite moment of all time.
It's unfortunately the best.
It really is so good. It's so good.
Billy Belford, I gotta say.
It's one of those moments that make you really love the Schmoedown.
Agreed.
Yeah.
We got Jane Spence asking if you could act along with anyone or with any director, who would it be?
Well, that's a really great question.
I can tell you probably want to work with Nolan.
Yeah, you know, that'd be so sick. I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, he would definitely be one of them. I think Denis Villeneuve. Why can't I talk?
Villeneuve. It's actually Villeneuve. It's French.
I would love to work with him, or like Fincher would be sweet, but it sounds like it would be really tough. But I think it would be incredible. I think Fincher's an absolutely astounding director. So those would probably be my.
If you had to pick one, though.
If I had to pick just one, man, probably Fincher. I think I would actually go Fincher. Really? Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Just saw one. We're gonna say
actor. I think I'd probably just act with Gosling because I'm in love with him.
Ooh.
I love that dude.
I like that one.
I think you and Gyllenhaal would have like great like chemistry together. I don't know.
Man,
sort of. I don't know why. It just feels right.
I've heard he's the nicest dude. Honestly, I really have from everyone that's worked with him or met him. I think that what he's done with his career has been incredible. It's been astounding what he's done with his career. If he literally never did like another movie after that like weird stint he had in the mid 2000s, I don't think anyone would have ever cared. And then he just now is literally one of the most prestigious actors working.
All right. Who would you rather watch a horror movie with, Josh McCouga or with Ben?
I feel like I'd rather watch it with Josh. I feel like I'd have to be the strong one. It put me in strong man mode. I'd be like, all right, I can do this. I can do this. I have to be strong for Josh. So that's who I would watch it with.
I think we should talk to Christian. I think that would be a good thing for the SEN network, maybe.
That would be a good show. Like,
here we go.
Show Evil Dead to Josh.
Dude, he would freak. He would freak. I'd have to tell him to shut up at some point because it'd be just screaming the whole time.
Speaking of that, actually, audible 1 second there. Do you have any interest in being on the SEN network? Christian's been talking about having Schmoedown competitors do shows, and
yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things about AI. I mean, that was actually one of the things that we talked about when we formed AI, was that with Action Industries, we could do what we wanted. And Wendy over at Collider was talking to me today about coming on Collider Live and when I'm going to do that. And we've talked to Christian about going on his network, and I know that there was a thing with people from Collider coming on Popcorn or AfterBuzz shows and contractually not being able to, and that's kind of again why we started our brand, was so that we wouldn't be tied to anything other than our brand. So the things that we do, we always represent Action Industries, and we can work for anyone out there. So I think it's cool. I think it'll be good. I mean, Christian definitely knows what he's doing. He's a smart guy, and he's brought us some really great content before. So Collider Lab was successful. I'm sure this will be as well.
And Jay Oliveira again ask if you ever thought about writing a book about action movies or movie related, something to that effect.
I'd never write a book, but what I would do is would write an action movie. And Ben and I have talked about like writing an action drama or an action comedy. And
the time has always got to be like 1307 CIA headquarters, like Tony Scott style,
And I don't know. We just need to find the time. It's always about finding the time, So I do think it'll happen. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I wanted to see if it does happen. I want to see the perfect AMA movie with every AMA like cliche, or like not cliche, but every iconic moment, everything like the hero qualifier, the movie.
Cast the movie and like produce it right now. Do a writer, director, and the stars. Like, I don't know, 2 to 4 maybe. If you can come up with it just on the go.
Like we would write it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Sorry.
And then to direct it, why not get your boy Nolan to direct it? He knows how to direct a good action sequence. I think he'd be good. But I think I might also want someone more gritty, more raw and gritty. I really do. I think maybe this is where we use Denis. Okay, so maybe he directs it. Yeah. And then the stars, I mean, I got to be in it. You apparently got to be in it now, Jarvi, because you're big time, big man.
I was just an extra.
I don't know. I haven't I don't know. Obviously, I don't know enough about the movie, like what we would ever even write the movie about. But there's a lot of people that I really love working right now. Honestly, there used to be a time when I feel like if I was gonna make a movie, I'd be like, oh man, I want either these 3 or these 3 people working in it. But now there's so many talented, diverse actors and actresses out there that, God, I don't even. There's so many to select from. I think it wouldn't even matter at this point. That was kind of one of the things that I thought about The Irishman. I was like, if this movie was not made with these people, would anyone really care? Because I didn't.
You've seen it already?
Yeah. I was just like, I just didn't feel like the story for me was something so crazy or original or unique that it wouldn't have mattered if it wasn't Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, and Robert De Niro in it. Whereas like, I don't know. Now I'm just rambling about The Irishman.
I'm going to steamroll everyone and ask my own question really quickly. A question I've been asking Action Movie Anatomy for a very long time. When are you guys going to cover Miscongeniality, man?
I know we've actually legitimately talked about covering it on the show numerous times. I don't know what we have a whole list of movies to still cover on the show, and we only pick like one of those movies every like 3 months because we try to basically stay topical now. I mean, we've always tried to stay topical, but we really try to stay topical now. And I can't remember exactly what our lineup is for the next couple of weeks, but I do know we're covering Knives Out soon, and I'm so excited to talk about Knives Out.
Yes.
Your favorite movie of 2019, is that right?
I really think so. I still think it is.
Just bring back the mini ones that y'all did on Patreon, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, the mini AMAs, and just do that. All right.
Yeah, whenever we get our first general chat, just do it with me only, and I'll be fine.
No, I think we could do a legitimate. We'll do a Miscongeniality mini AMA on a live stream. That's what we'll do, 100%. Because Ben and I like that movie.
It's a great movie. And it follows all of the action movie anatomy rules.
Does. I know.
I've made this argument plenty of times.
It's a very sound argument. It is so sound that we have to cover it, whether we like it or not.
Perfect. I got 2 questions left I'm going to go with, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Ed Haskell wants to know, after watching Terminator Salvation trailer, are you going to try to watch it again?
God, first of all, I love that you watched that, Haskell. You're such a legend. And second of all, I love that you reminded me about that because I'd forgotten that I was wanting to watch that. So yes, 100%. I am 100% going to turn that on after this interview is over. I'm probably going to make a little bit of food, kind of hungry, and then I'm going to watch that movie and be disappointed once again. I know it's going to be bad. But did you guys watch the reaction, or do you remember the trailer? Because that trailer is so sweet.
Yeah, I love that trailer. I mean, that was my favorite trailer. I was so stoked for the movie, and it came out. I'm like,
you're talking about Salvation, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, I don't hate the movie as much as most people do. I actually think it's like above average even.
A handful of, I mean, that's kind of what we heard today. We heard a lot of people say that they like that movie more than I remember people enjoying. So, Jarvi, you're not the only one.
I can't get past Worthington. That's just me.
I'm a fan of his. I don't know. It's like I'm like a fan of Worthington, just like you guys are, like Pacific Rim guy.
Hunnam.
Yeah.
You like actually
but you like love to make jokes about it and sort of like
what movie where he was the captain or like a colonel in recently?
Oh yeah, the Netflix movie with Ben Affleck.
No, I don't. Hold on, I gotta look this up because there was a.
All right, okay. So now Drew's gonna do his thing. Now ask him a question.
Yep, I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it. Yeah, ask me whatever you want.
Someone ask you a question.
Ask the last question. Go for it.
Well, the last question is the video one, but I got to do it. So I can't actually.
I'm kind of rewatching. It's Hacksaw Ridge.
There. Oh yeah, that's right. He was in that. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the video thing?
Okay, our last question we had comes from a friend of ours and a friend of yours. Let's just see, put it on screen.
Oh yes.
So let me get this over to start. Oh, well, my computer's being a little slow.
That's all right. I could stare at that face all day.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, here we go.
Hey Drew, it's your old buddy Billy Belford. Quick question. How do you feel about these chill to action Ben loving traders having Ben Bateman on chill to action before you? Not a good look for me. Not a good look.
I'll just say it's the exact same thing that we do when we were winning with team action. Is you let losers go first. And we like to play from behind.
That was my answer. I said
seriously,
let Drew close it out. Save the best for last.
That's the answer. Everyone knows that's the answer.
I felt for trying to get us in trouble, but
I love it.
Oh my goodness! Alrighty, guys, y'all have anything else y'all need?
I think that's good.
We are good, man. Thank you all for coming in and tuning out on this Monday's episode of Chill to Action. We're very excited to have this segment going. We appreciate every single one of y'all inside of the chat. We love it. We love y'all. Thank you so much for coming in and hanging out. We really appreciate it. Mr. Andrew Ghai, let us know where the people can find you. I almost dropped this.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was great. I'm a huge fan of you guys, and you guys can find me everywhere online at Andrew Ghai. You can find our Patreon, patreon.com/team action. And check us out. I actually have my own YouTube where it's all Clash Royale content. I don't know if you guys want to see that, but it's also youtube.com/Andrew Ghai CR for the Clash Royale, because I'm an adult that plays a kid's video game. So there we go.
It's all good. We love it. Mr. Jarvi, tell us where we can find you.
Richard Eric with a K, Jarvi on Instagram and Facebook. And this was fun. This was more like a chill. This wasn't an interview. This was just friends hanging out, and I love this about.
Thank you. That's kind of the vibe that we hope to go for chill. So we appreciate that. We appreciate Andrew Ghai. You all know that we love Andrew so much. Paul, tell us where we can find you, bud.
Well, I'm at Paul_Denuzio on Twitter. This is where I usually plug the Team Action Patreon, and I say join the Patreon, keep me employed by Ben and Drew. I like working for them. I don't want to get fired anytime soon. So, but Drew already took care of that. So that's where you can find me. And you can find us also at the Call to Action podcast. And I'm very excited, very happy. Finally got Andrew Ghai, the GOAT.
No, thank you guys
on the show.
Thank you.
Especially this is one of the best moments of the of our Shield Action career so far. Let's say.
Yes, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on. We love it. We love you. Y'all know me. Y'all know where to find me. Danny Joy, right there. Twitter, you can find me there. You can find me here with Paul every time Chill to Action comes on. You can find me on the Call to Actions and all of the Facebook pages. You know where we're at. Make sure you subscribe and like to our channel. Hit that thumbs up, please, and thank you. I'm an official YouTuber now. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe, all that nonsense.
Hit the like and share.
Algorithms and shit is
it helps.
Get it going. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you're not a part of the channel, make sure you like it. All of that good stuff. Thank you all for coming in and hanging out. We're super excited. Paul, do you got anything to say about next week?
Yeah, we are in negotiations. We are finally dotting the I's and crossing the T's. But next week, we shall see Chill to Action welcoming Mike Kalinowski.
Oh shit!
And Shannon is going to come on with Mike as well.
I will not be tuning in, but I will turn it on, give it a thumbs up, and mute it just so you guys get the views and it helps bump you up in the algorithm. Because you know what? I want nothing to do with that guy. I think that show will be really great. I think there'll be a lot of really interesting insight in there, especially with both of them. She's amazing. I don't know if you guys know Shannon well. She's amazing.
Well, I have not met her yet. I've heard our other Call to Action people did meet her in Orlando, and they have all loved her. So
yeah,
so we're looking forward to it. So
we are. We're super looking forward to it. Kelsey will be on with us, so come and hang out next week, y'all. We can't wait. Thank you all for coming in and being in the chat. Thank you. Make sure that you subscribe or like our Facebook page. All of that good stuff. We love y'all. We out.
This shit was clean.
Clean.